Hello everybody, so this is gonna be probably the final update unless, some huge changes to the market happen to my unusual warpaint price guide. I think this is the third video I've done it. First video I did were like the Discord version, then I moved it to the Steam version, and now it's pretty much as perfect as it's gonna be, unless, something huge changes or they get more desired, anything. But then I'll update the guide and I'll probably make a video as soon as possible when the guide have been updated to big changes. But I figured still, I am the unusual weapons guy, do have this guide, or price estimation guide. It's not really a direct price guide. It even says here somewhere that you shouldn't use it as a bible. It's only so you can estimate a price range, so you have like an idea where to start on selling or buying a war paint. And there's also like some explanation of why the war paints sell worse than the generation 1 weapons. And some of you may wonder, why didn't you make like a generation 1 price guide? And the thing is, that is way more complicated, and it's so hard to teach other people how to price. While warpaint's actually straightforward and usually have like some patterns that are very easy once you learn them, and this price guide will help you see the patterns and just figure out the market. So just let's say we have a strange non-factory new assassin grade. We scroll down here, and this is a strange version, so it's like usually 120 to 200 keys. It's also written in the guide that it's usually like at either end. It's not like in between, so you shouldn't be like, oh, it's in between. It's like what 160 or something. No, it's more likely to be 120 or 200 depending on how desirable the paint is. Now we have this price range, and we're like, okay, so what else is with this war paint? Well, it's applied. Does it have any matching effect? For this case, it doesn't have any matching effect. There's nothing there, like no redeeming factors there. So we aren't going to be using this one where that's like 10%, but we'll do an example of that after. But we have this, it's applied. So let's say it applied to pretty much any weapon that maybe is a bit desirable, then about 30% off, and then you'll be able to sell it. That's usually what the rule is. Pretty much no matter what weapon it is. Of course, it's harder to sell even at this price, depending on if it's a less desirable weapon. But then you just cut 30% off the price, simple maths, and then you've got your price estimation there. And then of course you probably do it twice, like one for each number, like one for 120 and one for 200. And again, there you have your price range, and then you try and fit it in there. Should be pretty damn straightforward. And I also have some end notes here where I'm saying, like, if it doesn't sell within like the time that you'd like, which probably is a week, you can try and lower it, and just keep going until you figure like a sweet spot. But try and stick within the ranges. Like, don't go too much out of the range. Basically, if you're like trying to sell, it doesn't sell, then you should try and stop at the lowest end of the range, or maybe go a bit under if you just want to really sell it that badly. But unlike the last one, I've also added my guess under the elite grades, because there just isn't enough like data out there to estimate or figure out a pattern for what elite grades sell for, because there's basically so little factory new ones and they don't really sell that much, so it's very hard to figure out a good one. So that's why I have like about 350 keys, not even a range, because I'm not too sure about that. And then also for like the strange one, I have like about like 1,000 to 200 or to 2,000 keys is what I'm like expecting it to sell for when one gets unboxed, because I'm pretty sure none have been unboxed yet, even with generation 1 weapons. So let's see with this that I promised, where we try and use the themed matching kind of thing. And let's try with a bit of a special case here, where we have a uranium war paint, which is one of the more desired war paints. Let's say it's isotope, and it's the uranium war paint, and it's factory new. Now here you have a special case, because this is where you need to really notice like a collector might pay more for it. Because if you just do the price estimation, you'll be like, oh well, I could probably sell it for 100 keys, because this is a desired war paint and it's like 99 keys if you look at the top end of the range. So I'd probably sell it for 100, but you'd probably sell that within 5 days, or maybe a day even, because somebody would want that. Or you could try a bit harder, maybe find a collector and get 120, maybe 150 keys for it, who knows. That is where you need to like be mindful of, oh well, it is factory new, a collector might pay more for it. But if we were on the other end, maybe it was a non-factory new, maybe it was a field tested, then you could probably expect 80 keys for it, and that seems reasonable, even though, you know, the whole thing is there. It's just because, like, factory new, or if it's strange on top of that, you have some cases where, like, people would pay more for it, and you need to be aware of that. That's places where you can make profit. But if that fails, you always have, you know, the price estimation range where it's like, oh, at least I can get 100 keys for it. And that's also important to know, that if you buy and you see that for like maybe 80 keys, you're like, oh yeah, I'm buying that because I can any day get 100 keys for that. I really like, you know, these ranges that I've set up, and like the words that I've chosen for this guide, and it should be very easy to use for you guys. And if you really like the guide and you and your friends can get use out of it, be sure to, you know, upvote it, because that would really help. Also, yes, I did upvote my own guide, but I mean, I am the expert about this subject, unless somebody can prove me wrong in that sense, or just prove that they're better at, you know, the whole unusual weapon, unusual warpaint kind of thing. But I mean, I doubt it. I'm the unusual weapons guy. I have so much knowledge about this whole thing, and I haven't really met anybody who have the same kind of knowledge in terms of unusual weapons, warpaints, or whatnot. And that is also why I've done this guide. Just, you know, it also helps me a lot, because every time somebody asks me about a warpaint, I just redirect them nicely to the guide, and then they can do it themselves, because it's so simple and easy to use. And again, you just estimate, it's not a Bible. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you again next time.